pass from Havili was magic. The shift on for Crotty. Boom, far down you go, Quackett Smith. Me, oh my, I have enjoyed that. Yes, boy.
Sit back, relax, put your belt on, enjoy the show.
Let's move on to the main course. We have the Super Rugby AU Semi-final. So it's the second, third place on the ladder, the Reds and the Rebels. As we've said, the Rebels just sneaking in there. We all would have loved to see the Force notch their first win and by doing so also knock the Rebels out and put our beloved Waratahs through. Not that they have deserved it, and also they would probably lose, but still. I don't know.
Mate, but they beat them by like 40 points last time, so don't give us that.
They did. Well, look,
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I'm skipping to the end where I say, how do we see this game going? But I personally also think that the Tars probably have more of a chance of beating the Reds than the Rebels do. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but maybe we'll revisit that after we go through a bit of a preview. So, I mean, I'll kick us off with this one. We've touched on some of these things in our review and last week's review as well, but set piece, we'll start there. Both these teams in particular, their lineouts have been woeful. So last week, the Reds lost a couple, and the Rebels lost a couple. So not a strength for either team. Don't know how that will really pan out then. I don't think either team's really going to use it as an attacking weapon, but also won't be discouraged from using it.
On that though, the Rebels line-out rolling maul defence has just gone back to what it was pre-COVID by conceding 2 tries to the Western Forcible team. So surely that's got to be a little bit of a target for the Reds, and it will be, I think, something that the Rebels aren't fully expecting either.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you were the Rebels, you'd be expecting the Reds to just get the ball out wide because that's where they've been doing all their damage. So absolutely could be something that you think the Reds would work on. Yeah, for sure. But what I'm excited to see is, and what has been the strong suit of both these teams has been their scrums. I've been particularly impressed by the Rebels scrum this year. As compared to it in previous years, they've kind of always had a lack of props, we've felt, but Cameron Orr, as we've said, has been fantastic. And of course, Pony Fa'amasili. He is, look, not only does his name, is his name almost the initials of the Pony squad, the players of the national interest, Pony. He is a bloody player of national interest for sure. And they just need to start him. He had been huge in the scrums and all over the field. So can't talk about him enough.
A little bit of credit to Jermaine Ainsley or not?
No credit to Jermaine Ainsley. Sorry, mate. See you, champ. Jermaine Ainsley, goodbye, mate. Put Pony on there. Is Ainsley on the Pony squad list? I don't think so. Goodbye.
Is he going to New Zealand?
Exactly. I don't know why. He's not going to make the All Blacks. But
they don't have any good props.
True. But yes, anyway, huge. The Red scrum, though, obviously has been incredibly impressive. We've talked about Tupou there. Probably, one of the world's best scrummagers. He's just name someone built better to be a tight head prop. I'll wait. There isn't anyone. So, I think that will be a really great battle to see. I hope they start Pony, but they'll definitely be revved up for that. In terms of the rest of the game, I guess you can tell I'm less excited now. Scrums are what I was very excited about. But one of the big questions here, I think both the teams are pretty established in terms of who they're picking. With DHP coming back in the backs for the Rebels, he was fantastic coming back, put aside any question marks about him returning from injury that, I had thinking about picking him up for fantasy last week. I thought he was great. He looked fantastic. So I guess that leaves Reece Hodge in the centres. And my big question is Hodge your man? You basically want your best defender defending Geordie Bataille because he is looking dangerous. So who is Hodge the man for that job?
I think so, yeah. Unless you want to put Matt Tamil to 13.
I can tell you Reece Hodge's tackle percentage this season, Super Rugby AU, is 77%. He's missed 8 tackles there. So probably not good enough when you got Patea running at you with threats like Daugunu and Chris Fawai Sortia outside them. But he does have a lot of support inside him with Matt Tamua. Hopefully we see Matt Tamua playing 12. I think that was one of the other big questions. Harry and I had a little bit of a chat about it last week. The Rebels really need to have 2 playmakers on. We all love Bill Meeks, but and probably prefer him as a player at the moment than Andrew Deegan. But the way that they work with Andrew Deegan, supporting and playing with Matt Tamua, and Matt Tamua adding a bit more steel to those centres and the defensive line is so much better for them. Without having those 2 players sort of guiding that back line around, they seem, a bit one-dimensional. So I just think it adds a bit more variability to their attack, a bit more sort of threat with the kick, things along those lines as well. They're also, I think we all would expect the Rebels to be doing some rain dances, things like that over the rest of the week, because they just wanted to do something to slow down that potent backline of the Reds. I think there's a 30% chance of a shower, but most likely early in the day. So probably not enough. So they better start doing their rain dance.
We should have called in our first pod cap and the weatherman Blakey Palmer for this job. But no, I think bang on, Nels. I think Tamua, him defending at 12, he just takes away an extra second or 2 from the attack and just kind of casts a little bit of doubt there. He makes such good decisions and absolutely punishes people. So, I was thinking, I think you guys will rebuke. What's the word I'm looking for here?
I think it's it.
Me on this one, but Campbell Magnay, fighting fire with fire, youngster with youngster. Campbell Magnay defending Geordie Bataille. I've really liked Magnay, but I don't know if he's up to this job, and it's probably pretty hard to put him on for Reece Hodge unless you move Hodge to the wing.
The only thing I would say is on the comparison of the two, and Nelson was mentioning that Hodge's tackle percentage is pretty low. He's obviously been defending all over the back line as he's been shipped around. He's only started that one game, hasn't he, at outside centre? Last week.
I think he started more earlier in the season.
He started more early, I think.
He's only been fullback.
Pre-COVID?
Oh, wait. No. Are you saying he's been wing?
Yeah, his tackle percentage didn't change from pre-COVID, though, to be.
So in the one game since COVID that he started outside last week, he made 9 from 10 tackles as well. So I don't think that you can necessarily say that making a tackle at outside centre is the same as in space trying to cover a big winger or something in a break as the outside back. Still, I think their tackle percentage is generally a little bit lower.
Yeah, fair point. But as I said, I think it was pretty much the same tackle percentage throughout the whole year when I was looking at that as well. So I don't think it's necessarily changed. Maybe it's just more of a fact that he had a better defensive game last week. And it's probably been something with, having Dane Heller-Petty there, and that experience might have helped him as well. Campbell Magnay, on Campbell Magnay as well, he's got a 75% tackle percentage.
Neither of these are good, so yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, and then the only other point, as I said, the teams are pretty established in terms of, particularly the Reds. I think we all know who they're picking, but Tom Pincus for the Rebels. I mean, we talk about it every week. They have this wealth of players. Andrew Kellaway, yes, whilst he hasn't been in great form, I'd still be picking him every week on the wing. I don't know what the deal is there, but
the Tom Pincus try was pretty great though.
Yeah, but he just ran a line. He ran a line and all he had to do was catch the ball and put it down. You know what I mean? Nelson could have even scored that try. I'm prepared to say. I don't know if he would have caught it, but he would have scored the try.
I would have looked for a defender to run over, mate. I would have made it look harder.
Yeah, okay. No, very good. So anyway, yeah, I'd like to see Kellaway back starting. I didn't get to see Lockie Anderson come on because I haven't seen the game. I just saw the highlights. What position did he play? Did anyone notice?
I didn't even notice him, to be completely honest with you. I think he came on for Pincus, didn't he, after the yellow?
I'm not 100% sure. Maybe he did.
Okay. No, there we go.
Really,
it was very important.
Yeah, he came on for Tom Pincus.
Okay. All right. Well, other questions. A player that we have been talking, it feels like less and less about with each week. Harry Wilson. Certainly was still picked up for our fantasy final this weekend. But, is it Is he becoming more anonymous because the likes of the other back rowers around him are standing up more? Like obviously Fraser McWright this game and last game has had a couple of massive involvements, just really stepping up into the fray, and Liam Wright has just been awesome as well. I don't know, we've just seen less of those big carries, him breaking into open space. What do you guys think the deal is with Harry Wilson? I mean, we think we all still agree he's a fantastic player, but why have we been talking less and less about him?
He's been given the ball less. So I looked at his work rate in the first 5 rounds or 4 games, 5 rounds of Super Rugby AU, and the last 4 games of Super Rugby AU. He went from, I think, 15 runs to 7. And he went from 14 tackles to 10. So he's getting the ball less than half the time. And I think you're right. I think not only the emergence of the other loose forwards, but also the Reds attacking game has been growing more and more and more. And you're just getting so much ball out wide to the back line as well. Whereas before that, they were really relying heavily on their big forward runners to get them over the gain line. So I think a complete change of tactic means he's not been leaned on nearly as heavily.
I think that's fair. I think it might be a little bit deeper than that in the aspect that, you know, if you're a back rower, generally if you're wanting that ball, whether you're running off the 10 or you're running off the scrum, you're generally putting your hand up to receive that ball. He came into this season just so hungry, wanting to prove himself. And it has been a long, strange season. I mean, a lot of players we've seen, you know, fade out for a few weeks. He's only had 3 quiet weeks, if we're being honest, over this year, you know. So, yes, it was quiet. I think he had a big game a week or so ago, or a match or 2 ago, and a couple of quiet games before that. But it's been a mentally draining year, I'm sure. But he just hasn't seemed to, you know, go hunting for the ball as much as he did earlier on. And to me, that feels like maybe he's a little bit less hungry, but yes, maybe he doesn't feel like he needs to do it as much with the rest of the, you know, the backs and things stepping up and being a little bit more dangerous with ball in hand.
I can't see him being less hungry. I honestly think he's tired. It's a big season. It's his first year in professional rugby as well. And I'm just comparing here to Issy Nassarani's run stats to see how much comparably he gets the ball. And he hasn't had the ball in a single game less than 14 runs and more than 18 runs. So he's getting up there 14, 15, 16 to 18 runs every single game. And I think that's where Wilson's dropped off. He doesn't seem to have the same role running the ball as what he used to.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, well, moving on. I think, look, we've talked about the Rebels' attack being a little bit one-dimensional, and what can they do about that. We've talked about the expansive play of the Reds. I think, you know, we've touched on it before, but really, if you're looking at the two teams, the Reds are really just a better team pretty much across the park from 1 to 15, really. And so I think apart from, and also, sorry, the Reds they're just super hungry. Like they're a team that wants it. Every game they have wanted it more than their opposition, you know, apart from a few lapses, aka the Waratahs annihilating them. But particularly in recent weeks, particularly, you know, the last time they beat the Brumbies, last week they beat the Brumbies, whatever. Are the Rebels capable of winning this? You know what I mean? If they turn up and they are absolutely guns blazing, do the Reds just need to have a bad game as well? Or like, are the Rebels capable of winning this game?
I think everything needs to fall in place for them, really. The Reds are going to have, you know, they're going to come out firing, but the Rebels just need their game plan to stick. I think they need to revert back to their back line that had been a little bit more potent with the dual playmakers, a few different things like that. It's possible. It's definitely possible. They weren't that far off last time they played each other, but I mean, they don't have that attacking ability that the Reds have. But if you talk to anyone that talks about stats, Ben Darwin being one of them, it's your defence that wins the, you know, championship. And again, I think that's something for me that's lacking for a little bit in a lot of those positions for the Rebels.
Last time they played, it was 19-3.
was just
The
about to look it
Rebels,
up.
yeah, it really, really didn't look like scoring. And watching the Rebels try and win the game against the Western Force, they went back to type, which is one man out, pick and go, or one pass runs. They really lack any creativity in attack. And I'm just casting my mind back to a few weeks ago when the Reds just showed us one of the best defensive displays I can remember in recent history. And I just don't think that the Rebels can fire enough shots. There was an interview with Vessels today where they were saying last time they flew up to Queensland, it was an 8-hour trip before the game. So they're trying to get a special ruling to allow them to fly to Sydney the night before and then fly to Queensland on the day of the game. So then it breaks it up a little bit. But it's a long, long trip against a very physical team. I mean, unless the Rebels can get lucky and get a fast start, I don't think they have a chance.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's why I'm wearing the red beanie, mate. I'm going for the Reds. It's all
Yeah,
right.
look, I think we all want the Reds to win this one, and we're all tipping the Reds to win this one. But I think there's still a lack of experience in the Reds in a lot of positions. And when you turn up to semi-final footy and finals knockout matches, that experience is pretty important. And I mean, sadly for the Rebels, though, this is their first finals playoff as well, but they do have a few experienced heads there. So, I mean, as soon as you get to this point, you can go anywhere. But if we're going off recent form, you can't go anywhere other than the Reds in my eyes.
All right, well, with that, I'm going to start us off. Reds 15. I'm going to say Reds by 15.
I was going to say, before you said that, I was going to say 12. So I'll stick with that.
I was going to say 15, so I'm going to up it and say 17.
How dare you? Great minds think alike, clearly. Excellent. Okay. And look, we talked before about exciting battle of Dangunu and Korobite. Don't know why I said that name so weirdly, but that's all right. I think Korobite really needs to get more involved. Certainly, I picked him up last week, assuming he'd score 4 tries against the Force, but he did not. So,
I mean, did you watch that try that DHP scored? He had a lot to do with that one. It was pretty awesome.
I know the mistake he made was he passed it to DHP, though. If he just held the ball, I would have been a lot happier. But anyway, that will do us for that game. So, no, sorry.
Quickly,
last point.
Breaking news.
Breaking.
Juan Smith, the former Melbourne Rebels player, if he was any risk of anything coming back from Melbourne, what do you think it would be?
COVID.
Yeah.
So he's currently stayed home from training today to go get a COVID test because he's unwell.
Very, very interesting.
This could be huge.
That could throw a big spanner in the works.
This sounds like
Tars v Rebels.
Is this a Melbourne? Is this a Melbourne sabotage plan all along? They've got a mole. They've just inserted it into the team.
For sure.
They've used the ruse of brotherly love and missing his family to insert him in there. That's if that is the case, that's stepping it up in terms of sabotage, really. But,
smart. It's real smart.
That's doing whatever it takes. You know what I mean? Vessels is like, we've got to do what we need to do. So
that's right.
How good. All right. Well, you heard it here first. So watch this space, I guess. Check the news. We'll see what happens.